Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Sahiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Today I am going to speak about three modes of material nature. It is in Bagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14. Before I start, I would like to get the blessings of all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and first of all, from my beloved Guru Maharaj and all my Siksha Gurus. So I need, if any shortcomings in my presentations or any mistakes, please apologize me. Please excuse me if it is not useful or if it is not significant to the people who have watched this video. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. So in this 14th chapter, Krishna elaborately speaks about the three modes of material nature. In the beginning itself, Krishna says to Arjuna that I am going to declare you the supreme wisdom, which is the best of all knowledge, knowing which even the sages have attained the supreme perfection. From 7th chapter to end 12th chapter, 7 to 12th chapter, Sri Krishna reveals the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. Now the Lord himself is further enlightening now to Arjuna. If one understands this chapter, he can easily be present in which state he is. Actually, because the lack of presence in our dealings, in our activities, in our actions, that is why we fail sometimes to cope up with the present modern age. So that is a problem even devotees or so many newcomers and other peoples are facing in their own personal life, because the whole material world is controlled by these three modes of material nature. Krishna says it is we are not the controllers, the modes are controlling us. That is why we are left in different directions. Some situations, when the reversal comes in our life, when the panic comes in our life, we will not be able to manage the things, because sometimes multitasking actions also comes. Here three modes means three gunas. Gunas means in Sanskrit it is a rope. We say rasi in Hindi. In Tamil we say kairu. So these three ropes are like three forces, three energies which controls us, which controls our actions. So before going to the detail of this chapter, let us come back to the real understanding of these three modes. Because in this chapter, Krishna explains how this mode of nature works and how they act, how they work and how they act, and how they binds us and how they gives liberation. That's what he explains in the first sloka itself. So whenever we read this chapter, we understand this chapter, when we apply this chapter to in our life, then we can realize that this is for our life, this is for my life, this is for my life. For all miseries, these three modes is the cause of all our miseries and chaos, in miserable conditions, abominable conditions in our life. This because of these three modes. This is the cause for our all miseries. And Krishna gives before 5,000 years, 5,000 years before itself, he gives the He gives a solution for this, but people are not taking up this. People are not able to. People are not. People are reluctant to take up this golden sutras and golden instructions in Bhagavad Gita. But he also says how we are trapped in this world, in this material world, because these three types of forces only will bind us, will control us. And I shall now Krishna says, I shall declare you to declare. I shall declare the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, because Krishna is the best teacher. He is the Jagat Guru, and he is going to give excitement in his teachings also. When he is teaching also, he gives some excitement. If you attain Krishna, you will be eternally situated in his from Bulok to Golok, because we are by nature Sachitananda Vigraha. Why such we got this Sachitananda's qualities, because we come from Krishna. That is why Krishna is Sachitananda, because he is full of full of eternity, full of knowledge, and full of bliss, full of happiness. So the soul is also, because Mamayvamsa Jiva Jiva Loka Sanatana, the soul is also has that same qualities. So, and when the soul comes in contact with the material world, then he becomes conditioned. That is what is called a conditioned soul. In 14.3 also he says the total material substance called Brahman, that is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings. So Krishna, it is Krishna who impregnates this material world. That is why by nature the material nature is feminine, and so many people argue that material nature is the material nature gender is not feminine, but it is by nature itself it is feminine, because the male gender is Krishna and the female gender is Mother Nature. Because the Krishna who impregnates, he just by his glance he sees the material nature and it get impregnates, as we have read in Gitas, as we have read in Bhagavad Gita. So he explains who is Krishna explains himself, that who is he and what's his position like. In fourth sloka he says, Aham bija prajapita. So it is, I am the seed giving father, he says. Krishna says, I am the seed giving father. Material nature is the mother. When we come to material nature, we are connected. Because as the best example Prabhupada says is rainwater. When the rainwater comes from the sky, it is very pure by nature. But when it comes contact with the muddy parts, it becomes contaminated. Similarly, the soul, the jiva, is also by very nature it is very pure, Sachitananda. But by coming in contact with the material nature, it becomes conditioned, and it gets trapped by these three modes of material nature. And three for material nature, by as I told, it is called guna. Guna means rope. Like the puppeteer ties the puppets, and he makes the puppets dance according to his tune. Similarly, for this material world, the puppeteer is Durga, and this material world is called Durga. There is one place called Durga also in Chhattisgarh. So Durga means superintendent of jail. So Durga means fort, also means jail. It also means a prison. So everybody we are in prison. This material world is compared to prison. And in prison there are different types. So there are different types of gradations, like first class jail, second class jail, third class jail. like some VIPs, if they are put in present, they are given some different luxurious facilities. Similarly, we are also in the material world, according to our guna and karma, we are given different forms. These three energies are sattva, rajotama, sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. So we are under the control of these three gunas or three qualities. We are bound by three ropes. We should go back. So now we shall go back. What is material world, and the material world is controlled by whom, and how we are going to control, and what is this jail? And before going to jail, let's know what is about it. The detail, the deep thing about the prison and all. So this material world is compared to prison, and these three modes. Durga is superintendent for this material nature. The Kailash family, the Shiva family is fully administered by they only administer this material world. Shiva, Parvati, and Ganesh and Kartikeyan. And like how Durga Mata kills Mahishashvara, similarly she gives, she also we are also like we are also demon like Mahishashvara, but the superintendent Durga has a trident in his hand. That three sharp things are compared to three gunas. I mean three kleshas: Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, Adidaivik. Adhyatmik means trouble or problem getting from our own mind and bodily parts, and Adibhautik is from other living entities like our neighbors and mm, animals, pet dogs, and other things, and from our relatives, from our friends. All these are referred to Adibhautik, and Adidaivik from the natural disasters like Bhukamp, like earthquakes, earth tremors, tsunami, all those things. So we should understand these three classes. So even Corona also from three classes only. We can understand from this, because people are so much panic because of this epidemic virus. So that is also from, if one understands Bhagavad Gita and about especially this chapter, one can understand why we are facing this problem, why we are forced to uh, forced to be victim of this particular disease or particular pandemic, because we are under the control of Durga. So and one more thing for your kind information, these three kleshas, every man has to face this as long as we are in this material world. It is given by Durga, because the material world is compared to prison, as I told before itself. So, how to get out of this jail? Before that, how we get into the jail, we should know what are the things to be done in the jail, what are the how we are going to act, how we are going to perform, and what we are going to do in the jail. Is that jail really miserable, or we get happiness in that? So as soon as we enter into this material world, we are given, I mean to enter into the jail, we are given the uniform, that is a dress. So as soon as we come in contact with the material world, similarly we get the dress, we get a form. So what type of a dress? That is every all the prisoners have a uniform, like also like we also have a uniform, we also have a dress code in this material world. We may take birth as a dog, we may take birth as a reptiles, we may take a birth as aquatics, and we may take a birth as human being according to our own previous deeds. So like that, in Padma Purana also it is mentioned that Jalada Navalakshyani Stavara Laksha Vimshati Kramaya Rudra Sankyaye Pasuva Dasalakshana. Like that, it is mentioned in Padma Purana. That means Jalada, this aquatics have 9 lakh species, and Stavara, its plants and trees have 20 lakhs, and Krameya Rudra. Krameya Rudra means the insects have 11 lakhs species, and animals have 30 lakhs, and birds and reptiles have 10 lakhs, and human species have 4 lakhs. It is divided according to 4 lakhs means 4 lakhs types of consciousness, that we should understand always. 4 lakhs types of according to our consciousness we get this form. Like in 8th chapter we have read and understood, I think. Yam yam vapi smaran vam tajantante kalevaram tam tam veti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita antakalecha mamaiva smaran mukta kalevaram. How to attain the supreme, Krishna says in all these chapters. So that so in that gunas plays a major role in what guna we are, in what status we are. So all these are divided into consciousness. So 8.4 million dresses we have. Out of that, we are going to choose what dress we are going to wear. Yes, example, for example, if a person if a person in a house may wear different dresses at different times. Like in morning, if he want to, if he or she wants to go for jogging, he wears a jogging dress, that is tracksuit or something else, something like that. And if he goes to office, he goes in a different dress code with a new executive dress. And if he comes back and to the house, he may wear a casual dress. And if he goes to sleep, he may wear night dress also. Like that, a person differs in a person may uh, wear different dresses, but the person is the same. Like the soul is the same, but he may have attained different forms of life. Like and the second one, in the present they gives a chain. The chain means if he is a big prisoner, they give a very big chain. Because with that chain we are bound. So we are bound with sato rajatuma, satoguna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. Uh, in fifth sloka, he says, eternal living entity comes in contact with the nature. Right? As I told you before itself, he becomes conditioned. So now let us have an introduction about these three gunas. What is Sattva-guna? Sattva-guna means peacefulness, shanti, and satisfaction, peacefulness, satisfaction, and happiness. Rajaguna means action, immediate action, creation, hurry. All this constitutes Rajaguna. Tamoguna means pramada, madness, destruction, helpless, awareness, unclean. All this constitutes Tamoguna. And also, one more thing we should have an understanding that what mode we are going to select, it depends on us only. What mode we are going to choose. Sometimes if we are in Satoguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna tries to pull down from us, pull down our consciousness from Satoguna to lower modes. And if we are in Rajoguna, Tamoguna pulls down, Tamoguna and Satoguna pulls down. If we are in Tamoguna, Rajoguna and Satoguna pulls down. Now I think we can understand that what are these three modes. Satvaguna means always peacefulness, shanti, and knowledge, intelligence, satisfaction, happiness. He will be always in happy, and he will not get disturbed at all. He will have very peaceful mind, and he will not get disturbed at all like Rajoguna person. Rajoguna person is always action. Somehow or other, he wants to be very, what can I say, hardcore anger person. he will immediately get angry. He will immediately get attracted to something, some material beauties. And tamaguna means always he doesn't care about anything. He always wants to sleep. He always wants to eat like hogs, and he will always have unclean dress, not washed every day. And sometimes we can see in our college, in some colleges and hostels also, the people, those people, they'll get up at afternoon 2 o'clock. They go to sleep at 11:30, 12:30, and sleep till afternoon 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 4 p.m. like this. I think I heard from my other devotees that in IIT, some people, they have never seen sun at all from so many months when they stay in the hostel. That's what I heard from other devotees. So some people, they don't wash the clothes at all. So they will take annual bath sometimes. Every year they take bath. So all these qualities, only the tamoguna people will have that. And they always, and the rajoguna people will always eat odd things. Even food also, food is also makes sense. Like sattvic people will always have vegetables, fruits, pulses, like those things. They always have their regular meal. And rajoguna people always, they want pungent, hot, and very spicy things they want to eat. And tamoguna people always have non-vegetarian food, which is not at all good for our consciousness. And they always drink and always be happy. Uh, and they always have a very illegal relationships. All these things, tamoguna people will have that. So these three modes also plays a dominant role in food, clothing, and timing also. Because in sattvic people, they get up early in the morning, they take bath, early bath they take in cold water also. Some people, some devotees, and as soon as the bathing is over, they attend Mangalarti, they read Bhagavatam, they do chanting, they chant some rounds, 16 rounds or something like that, and they always read Bhagavatam like that. And um, some people, they get up very late and they have to go to office, they have to go to some business places. They'll hurry up like anything. They'll run, they'll rush. Even they will not have time to have food. I seen in Bangalore city, some IT softwareans, they have food in the car. I saw them. There was one there. I saw one lady which she was having breakfast in her car, and so many times I saw some gentlemen also having food in the car, because they don't have time. They are not planned properly, and their rajoguna, they are fully in rajoguna. And even if they go to office also, they will not be peaceful. They cannot work properly. Their boss may scold them. They'll not have a very good understanding with them. And all these things, the modes makes so much sense. So one story began from regarding this satoguna, rajaguna, tamaguna, and I want to share with all of you. There was one hat seller was there. Three of them were there. One man is Satoguna hats, Satoguna, another one, Satoguna man, Rajoguna man, and Tamaguna man. Three persons were there. Tamaguna person went to sell the hats in the market, and he was so tired after walking for a long distance. He slept under the tree, keeping his things aloof. And as soon as he got up from long time, he saw all these hats were not found. And hats, because the monkeys, they took all the hats and they climbed the trees. And he didn't care about that also, because he was in so much tamasic. And he just went up, so you do whatever you want, and he just left. And so because of that sadness, he went to some pub, and he took some liquor, and he slept off, thinking that I lost all my business. And Rajoguna person also came to sell the hats in the market, hats or caps in the market. and he also slept under the market. This is only an example to understand how Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna persons will react, because all three will have the same provocations. So when he gets provocation, what will be their mode? In which mode they will? Which mode is prominent? And Rajoguna person also will sleep under the tree. I mean under the tree. And after he gets up, he saw his hats are not found, and immediately he just looked up and he saw all the monkeys were wearing the caps, and he really wants to desperately wants to get back the hats from the monkeys, and he was using all the filthy words. Ooh, please give me fast, otherwise I'll do. See, I'll just cut off this tray and make you die, or I will hit you. So we might have been experienced all those things in our daily life. Even while driving in the roads, also we can see some people, if they uh, meet an accident, both the people will be fully in Rajasik. He will be scolding him, and the other fellow also is scolding him with different filthy languages. Like that, this Rajasik person was howling at the monkeys like anything, and the monkeys never responded. And with that angry, he went off, saying that, see, I'll bring the person who will cut this tree and make you, and I'll pelt stones at you. He was doing all those reactions. We can see the reactions of that Rajogana, the nature of Rajogana. And the Sattvic person comes to sell the hats. For him also same provocation, and and this fellow, as soon as he saw the caps were not found, he was just kept silent. He was just analyzing, and he was pondering how to get things back. So he thinks for a few minutes, and he got an idea that, so he, by seeing the monkeys, he just acted like, as if he was having another cap with him. He took only one cap with him. He was having that cap, he just put on his head, and by showing that, by putting that cap on his head, he showed the monkey, see, I'm wearing the cap on my head. And the monkeys also just followed him. And after some time, he was holding the cap, and just he dropped the cap on the floor, on the ground. And the same way the monkeys also did. By that way, he got all the caps back, and he took it to the market and he sold, and uh, he received a good profit from that, and his business was over. He went happily to the house. So that's how the modes will be prominent while the provocations comes. So what we have to understand from this story, that if the provocation comes, we should immediately, we cannot promote to the Satoguna, from Tamoguna to Rajoguna, and Rajoguna to Satoguna, because Tamoguna is also needed. We need all the three modes, because in the night times, if we don't get sleep, we have to get we have the Tamoguna is needed in the night times, otherwise we cannot sleep. Unless otherwise we don't sleep, we will not be fresh in next day work. Next day we cannot start the work freshly. So even food also, by that for that matter, should take fresh foods. We should offer fresh foods to Krishna, and we should take the remnants of Krishna. So that is also very important thing to be noted. So like that, this these three gunas always these three gunas also divides our day also, because from Brahma Muhurta, before 1.5 hour before sunrise, also we'll have that Sattva, Suddha Sattva, and afterwards Sattva starts, and from afternoon to till evening we will have Rajoguna, and after that, in night we will have Tamoguna. So that is why whatever the spiritual activities we do, we should do in Brahma Muhurta or in Sattva. So like this, these three modes plays a prominent role in our life. Even in my experience also, sometimes when I was freshly joined to Krishna consciousness, I saw book distribution. I used to go for book distribution also. From that also we can see the all three modes of material nature. All these three modes of material nature we can experience in that book distribution also. Because some people will be very rajasic. Hey, who will buy your book? I don't have time at all. I don't have time to do my business. If I start reading this book, who will maintain my family? They will speak like that. They will react like that. And sometimes some people are very sattvic. They will buy the book and they will just have some. They will share some experience also with us. And Tamaguna people, he will never care. Say, you don't speak to me. Just quit this place. They say like that. So in trains, we can experience all this in trains, buses, bus stands. So that is a book distribution uh, teaches us so many lessons. So what happens to us in our life? Sometimes we'll be sattva, sometimes we'll be rajo, sometimes we'll be tamo also. That we can experience in our life. Sometimes if we are very angry, our reaction will be very different. So I can give you 5-point formula to be in Sattva. The first thing, we should always offer prayers to the Lord. That I should always go beyond the material modes of nature. These three, even Sattva also consists of, it belongs to three modes of material nature only. It also belongs to material nature only. Even Sattva means also we are conditioned, because I have seen so many of my relatives. Sometimes if I tell them about this Krishna consciousness, or if I just try to preach them, they say, "See, I am not harming any others. I'm not giving trouble to any other people, and I am also not getting any trouble from others. Why should I? I am very peaceful. I have very good knowledge. I will always be peaceful. I will stay here only. I will not come anywhere. I will not go to the temple. I will not do any bhakti." That is also conditioned only, because if you don't do bhakti, if you don't practice Krishna consciousness, how you will be relieved from these three modes of material nature? How you will be relieved? How you will come out from the jail? So we should also know how to come out from this jail, because we are trapped by these three modes of material nature. So we should come out from the prison. We should come out from Durga's trap. So that is also not at all advisable. So, but we should to go to Suddha Sattva Guna, we should we should climb the ladders from Tamaguna ladder to Rajoguna, Rajoguna ladder to Sattva, and from Sattva Guna ladder to Suddha Sattva Guna. First of all, we should try to climb to the Sattva Guna. For climbing Sattva Guna ladder, we should promote slowly, gradually from Tamoguna to Rajoguna and Rajoguna to Sattva Guna. So first point is to pray or offering praise to the Lord. That makes us to stay in Sattva. And second is by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can stay in Sattva. And third one is pen down whatever we have read, whatever we have learned from our seniors, whatever we have heard from the senior devotees, sannyasis classes, or senior devotees classes. We should pen down. By doing this pen down, we can calm the mind. We can control the mind. We can stay in Sattva. And the fourth one is very very important, peaceful. We should be always peaceful. Whatever the provocations comes, whatever the reversals comes, and whatever the abominable conditions comes to in our daily life, we should be very peaceful, and we should be present in what we are doing. That's very very important. Krishna says in other slokas, in coming slokas, he says you should be present, because Burijan Maharaj also says always while you are chanting you should be present, because there is no difference between the name and form of the Krishna नाम चिंतामणि कृष्ण चैतन्य रस विग्रह नित्य मुक्तो मुक्त शुद्ध मुक्तो it says what it says is the holy names are like Chintamani. So there is no difference between the holy names and the form of Krishna. So whenever we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, we should be present in the holy names because Krishna is present in the holy names. There is no difference. Um, so that is very important. Being present, and also we can have some scriptural reading during that time. That also makes us be stay in Sattva. And also last one is very very important. That is a problem every devotee is now facing, and more than the convinced devotees are facing this problem. These Android phones. That is a what can I say? Powerful weapon which Maya is operating on us. So we should always avoid phones while doing spiritual activities because most of the time we are not able to chant because in one hand beat bag and another hand is we are having Android phone, watching all WhatsApp messages, first Facebook, so many Telegram, all so many things we are doing this. So we should keep away from the phones. We should keep away from this uh, Android phones while chanting the holy names of the Lord or while um, reading scriptures or hearing classes or doing some spiritual activities to the Lord. We should be away from that. That is very because phone is illusion. It is Maya. So we will be deluded because of that. So that we should be very careful. So the presence of mind is very important. If we are even while we are honoring the prasadam also, we should that presence should be there. We are honoring the Krishna prasadam. While honoring prasadam, we should not watch TV or we should chat with others. No, or not. No, we should avoid all those things. And what are the things to be avoided to stay in Sattva? Do's and don'ts. I'm telling. We should bring that revolutionary changes. That is like tapasya and all those things. First thing is judgment. So we should not oh, this person is very bad, is a fault finding person, he doesn't glorifies me, he always finds faults with me, he always see the shortcomings of me, like that we should not judge. And that neighbor person is not proper because she is not at all addressing me, she is not at all wishing me, I should go and wish him. So like that, no, this judgment is very very dangerous. And the second thing is no control, no fear. We don't have control. We are always in fear. We'll always get scared. We should not get scared at all. We should not. We should always dependence on Krishna. Depending on Krishna will relieve us from the fear. Abhaya. He says. Krishna says in I think the 16th chapter in first sloka. The first point is says fear. The devotee, the Daiva Guna, in Daiva and Asuraguna, he says we should not get fear at all. That is the first quality of a Daiva Guna. We should never get scared because Abhaya, that is why Srila Prabhupada was never scared. His name itself says Abhaya, Abhaya Charana Aravinda. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Abhaya Charana Aravinda. Abhaya Charan means one who doesn't get scared at all. There is no fear at all. Abhaya. And the third one is detachment. And whatever the uh, shortcomings comes, I mean whatever the reversals comes, we should not meditate on that, we should not be resolute in that. We should resolute in Krishna's lotus feet or Krishna's holy names or Krishna's guna gana and leelas, not about the reverses what we come, because we know Krishna knows everything. You think Krishna doesn't know all these things? He knows very much what's going to happen, what is happening to us, to me, because he's Trikalagna. In Sanskrit it says Trikalagna. He knows present, future, and past. In the past, about every living entity, about every jiva. So all these three things should be avoided: detachment, judgment. We should not judge others negatively, and no control and no fear. We should always be controlled, and we should have not get scared at all. And we should detach so many things which are not at all which are not at all favorable to Krishna consciousness. We should always accept things which is favorable, as Rupa Goswami said, Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe. So solutions or an anecdote. So be presence in our activities. Hare Krishna. The remaining part of this video will be presented in a couple of days. Thank you all, and thank you for bearing me uh, for so much, for the long time. Hare Krishna.